Good morning, everyone. Today is July 26th, and this is your Zone 3B garden update. Well, it's zucchini season, and I've been harvesting like crazy. And this patch here is incredible. And just want to show you some of these beautiful zucchinis I've got. I've got lots of pumpkins forming over here. Let's see. We got these little guys like that. There's some bigger ones in here too that are forming. So things are looking pretty good on this side. It's just starting to really take off now, and this is going to be a massive little food forest here. Super excited about it. And here the corn is doing really well. I've got onions in there too. And those are looking really good. It just rained, like it was our first storm really of the year, of any significance. Last night, you can see some of these outer edge corn are starting to yellow off. I'm guessing it's like a fertilization issue, so I loaded this up with this really good fertilizer. These are really heavy feeders, so I've been trying to keep up on that with these guys. This little section here has carrots, beans, onions, tomatoes, squash, and it's looking great. I see nothing but dark green. Lots of tomatoes. Look at that big cluster down there. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Lots of little ones. The little ones are what I'm kind of excited about here, so they always come up quick. This is some romaine heads, all doing pretty good. Got this trellis here of beans, some cucumbers. For some reason this side isn't really doing great. Can't explain why. The cucumbers on the edges are doing great, but the beans didn't really want to take, so. And then this little section is spring mix. I've already harvested it once. It's coming back nice. Over here things are doing not bad. I mean, this year the grasshoppers are pretty extreme. They're all over everything. See ya, buddy. And so yeah, Brussels sprouts are doing okay. Getting hammered by earwigs. Oh, a little bit of lettuce here where I planted okra, and the okra just died off, and what the couple plants that are left look like heck. And the basil. I, for some reason, didn't have very good germination here, and replanted, and I'm getting some better germination going on. But this basil looks really good. I'll swoop up here to the herb patch. Let me back it out a little bit. Yeah, this is basically just for cooking. To have all the stuff we want. It's cilantro, basil, rosemary, thyme, parsley. Love it. Yeah, over here what we've got is onions, and I slapped some bib heads in there. And I think it's just time to rip these onions out and just call it a wash, because they're not going to grow. But the lettuce might actually do well, and trust me, I've got plenty more to go in. So say goodbye to the onions and my pride and joys. These tomatoes are phenomenal. I love this method. It's what I've done in the last 3 years, and if you watch any of my previous videos, what I did different with these this year is I stabilized them with this board across the bottom, and then instead of twine or polyester line, I put in wire. And we haven't had any major storms yet this year except for last night. And I mean, I don't see any broken line. I think if it would have been twine or that garden string, we might have had some downed tomato plants. But they're not super huge yet, so you know, I think it has yet to be really tested. But it is nice to see just these big strings of tomatoes. I've got a couple that have changed colors that we were eating. Looks like I'm getting some sort of rust on the leaves here, which surprises me because I've really focused on pruning these back good. And they have good airflow, so I'm not sure what that's all about. But I'll just prune them again. It should solve the issue. So now, over here, I'm so frustrated with this spot year after year. I mean, you can see, for example, on this, it was all coming up really good, then the leaves started to turn yellow, and you can see this kind of newer growth is more green. Well, I just loaded fertilizer in here. Once I started to see this yellowing, I just fertilized again, and when I started out this spot all the way down, I had added a lot more compost, and that stuff's not cheap, and a ton of fertilizer, and everything was looking really good. And then you get this reddening of the leaves, and then they turn yellow and fall off. My cauliflower didn't really seem to complete. Same with a bunch of lettuce heads. These onions, they started out really good, and now they're just flat and small. They should be solid green and standing straight up. And I think what it is all these damn trees right here. I think they're just sucking the juice right out of this soil. So I have a plan that I'm going to come through here and shovel all this dirt off to the side. I'll probably come in and till it and loosen it all up once this stuff is like out of here, which is going to be soon. I'll till it all up again. I'll shovel it down, and then I'm going to put down some ground cloth, and then I'm going to make garden beds and fill the garden beds, because I'm hoping if I have some elevation and separation from the roots down below, that maybe that'll help. But it's going to be a lot of work, which I'm not opposed to, but it's already been so much work, and I brought in all these boulders one by one, carried them all, set them all in place, and now it's basically I'm just going to get rid of them. But I have to do something, otherwise this section is unusable. I mean, the garlic too, I mean, when I look at how it's yellowing off, I think that's natural, but it could possibly be too that it's part of how the soil area is over here. I mean, where I have separation from the trees, things do just so much better. So, and this section here was all lettuce, and it was looking good at the start, and then it just never finished and started to do, and I'll show you, you know, what it does. Zoom in here. It does this where it's like wanting to bolt. It doesn't like swell up and get fat. It just bolts and stops growing. So, you know, it's pretty irritating when you put so much work into that. Oh, the peppers are doing great. I've got a ton here dangling. So yeah, that's exciting. Oh. I had to go spray myself down with bug dope. It was getting so bad. Celery down here looking really good. Got to start getting after it, otherwise it's gonna. Well, it's like we have such a short season. It's hard to get everything. Yeah. So here's an example of some actually good cauliflower that's doing well. Completely separated from any trees around it. And this soil, I gotta say, is probably less amended than that other stuff, and it's doing great. You know, look at this butternut squash. It's pretty much just starting to vine out. I mean, this section is doing great, but over there where all those trees are, it's just not good. You know, this is how the lettuce should look. Swollen, flailing out, dark green, open in the middle. Carrots are doing well. Beets are doing good. I always worry about these this time because they get so compacted together with all these leaves that they get like leaf spot and all this and that. But you know, here's some more leaf lettuce, romaine actually. And I mean, compared to that other stuff, it's just night and day. Bit of spring mix yet. Oh, here's another bed I got back here that I very rarely even look at. And the onions in here are kind of mixed with all these pansies and whatnot. I think these are snapdragons. So they're doing fantastic. They're dark green, they're standing up straight. And I didn't even amend this soil at all. It was just from when I put it in there. Oregano's in bloom. Lots of big cabbages. Lots of slug damage. I always end up peeling that outer layer off anyway, but they're getting down in there. I got to get these off the out of the garden here, otherwise they're going to be toast. Man, looks like some big animal just tore through here. Go check my fencing. So over here, the flowers have kind of just got out of control, especially this nasturtium. It just wants to pull everything down to the ground. I've been really just pruning it back around these eggplant so that the eggplant have a chance. Holy smokes, I need to do some weeding. Ouch. Really thorny. I gotta get in there and do some weeding. Here, let me get this last one. Yeah, so those eggplants are looking pretty good. And over here, the spinach is finally gone. You can see the bald spots there, and the basil is coming up really nice. I just got to try to keep the slugs off of it, and once it gets a little bit taller, I can prune it out. And I'm starting to get flowers on my cucumbers. and they're looking nice. And lots of strawberries. Just can't pick them fast enough. Wish I had a team of people to help me out. But what I have noticed too is like at the scale that I'm operating, it's like I have a lot of stuff and just enough to like snack on here and there, but it's never really enough to like sell or anything. And most of the stuff I just give away. But it's either time to expand or maybe just try to maintain, but it gets to be unmanageable. You know, there's a lot to do. And it's hard sometimes to do this. Working full-time job and having kids and trying to make money doing this and that. It's my passion to garden, and when other things take me away from it, I feel frustrated, you know? Like I'm missing out on something, and what I'm missing out on is just these lovely little jaunts through the garden. Really just looking at stuff and wondering how I can make things better. I mean, it's these moments that really make it worth it, you know, when you can just sit and look and just really enjoy it. That's the joy of gardening. All the hard work pays off this time of year, and it just looks beautiful. So here we are. That's why I do it. Well, it's getting long, and that's all I really have to say. So y'all take care.